for that. A very good morning, good afternoon, everybody. Can I extend a very warm welcome to today's second in the series of four, being delivered in partnership with Master Connection Associates. And delighted to welcome back Cindy Novotny and Kim Pung, who are going to be looking at how we create a positive mindset at home. As normal, we're putting you all on mute due to the large numbers. And can I ask you all to use your chat boxes at the bottom of your screens for any questions for Kim and Cindy. As always, we will be recording the session, which I'll forward on to you later today. So let me hand over to Cindy and Kim. Thanks.
All right. Well, hello, good morning, good afternoon, evening. I know you're coming to us from all over the world. We're thrilled to have you with us. And we are going to obviously talk about the biggest conversation going on today, and that is about business is not really usual. But for some of you, it could be. So one of the things that we just have a little quote here, and it says, remote work is not traditional work, which is simply conducted in a home office instead of a company office. You know, there's a natural inclination for those of you who have not personally experienced remote work to assume that the core or only difference between in-work and remote work is location. This is inaccurate. And if not recognized, it can be very damaging to the entire practice of working remotely. The principles are different. And this is what we're going to talk about. We're going to talk about the fact that some of you have actually worked from home for quite a long time. And we have a poll here that I want to go ahead and launch, and it's to find out from you who actually is working from home in the previously to this, or never worked from home, or some in between. So I'm going to launch the poll, and then I would like to have you send in your thoughts. So we'll go ahead, and if you'll just click on, please share your home working experience with this. All right, we've got many people who have never worked from home coming in. Very few people that have worked from home. Some part-time. Let's see, keep going. We've only got about half of you, so throw in those answers. This is helping us. Can you see them too, Kim?
I can, yes.
Good.
I can't vote though.
Okay, so I think everybody's seeing the answers come in. So the majority of you, based on what we're seeing here, have really never worked at home. And those of you that have, we're going to give you some other ideas of how to actually do this. So what I do want, because these sessions, you've probably been on, I don't know, 100 different webinars over the past month that we've been all going through this. So I'm going to ask the question, and I'm going to keep moving, and I'm going to have you put this in the chat box, and then Kim, you can just stop me, and we'll start to talk about these, because knowing that a majority of you on this call have never really worked from home, or those of you that are leaders, because some of you on this call are sales leaders, GMs, operations leaders, you are leading now remotely. And I wake up every day to a slew of emails basically saying, I don't know what to do here. The laws are different in every country, but you know, I've furloughed people. That means they have a job. They're going to be coming back. My boss won't let them have access to Delphi. They won't let them be on lineups. And then I have people that their team has been furloughed and some laid off and have opened up everything to their team and said, look, just continue to work as usual. Those that are laid off do not necessarily know they're not going to get a job when they come back. But the boss, in my opinion, is keeping them present and relevant so that they have something to come back to, even if it's in a different job. And I find that really refreshing that some people are saying you can be as involved as you want to be. So just send those in, and Kim will start gathering those, and then we'll go ahead and start talking about them at that point. So when you think about the challenges that we know of, okay, I usually look at it this way. There's the biggest challenge is the fact that we're used to communicating on the phone. We're used to texting, quite frankly. What we're not used to doing is this all the time. Now, I am very used to this because for those of you that know me on the call, I have been traveling my entire career so much that most of my communication with my team is via FaceTime, Zoom, anything where we're using Skype a lot, and we collaborate. So our daily lineups are every single day and have been for the entire time we've had a company, for as long as we had all this technology. And so we really have a very good, easy way of collaborating and communicating. We do all of our operation meetings from sales to turnover to operations with a big screen, and everybody's on it from our different offices around the world, in fact, because we have people that are in Europe. This is the number one biggest issue, that if you are not on a daily lineup every day with your team, there is a real gap happening here, and it's not healthy. And we have heard from so many people that they're not just doing one lineup, they're doing two lineups. So they do a morning lineup, and they come to work at whatever time. Our lineup's at 8:15 every day. Every single day, our team is dialing in from all over. All their faces are going up on the screen. And obviously, we still have a lot of clients that their hotels are open. A lot of them that are limited stay, select service, that are all over the US, that all the truck drivers, the medical people, military are staying in their hotels. So we have a lot of business activity going on, and we're doing these types of webinars. So we're communicating. And then we also collaborate just on a few different ideas and things that we could, ideas of helping each other out. Now more than ever, though, we laugh a little. We always laugh, but now we share some goofy things that are going on. I mean, right? I mean, we all have moments, how we're cleaning bathrooms and what recipe we made, all those things. So this is vitally important. Go ahead.
And I just want to add too, as we look at the challenges that are on the screen now, and I'm seeing a number of the things coming in from all of you and your specific challenges you're having, the challenges have always been there for working remotely. There's always the feeling of isolation and missing your company culture and being a part of, talking at the water cooler, and all those things are natural parts of anyone working remotely, even in the best of circumstances. So even before this crisis, there was struggle with communication and collaboration, and struggle with feeling lonely, and struggle setting your own boundaries at home, and not, letting work consume everything, and trying to stay motivated. So those things were always there. And then on top of it, now we have some of the challenges that some of you are piping in about, which is I have distractions from a full household. I am now homeschooling, and so the distractions are bigger than ever. I miss seeing people face to face. My internet is slow and not fit for this type of work, and which is real and true. And that's why what we're working in now, even if you've worked at home for over 10 years like I have, it's different. Working at home now is different for a lot of reasons, because of some of the things that each of you have just shared. And the person said, I'm restructuring, moving the organizational chart around and changing daily depending on the best fit, using an opportunity to streamline the team, looking at what a requirement should be, and starting out again, and losing roles that were out of date. And that's certainly a time to do that. We're restructuring, we're re-looking at things, we're questioning, we're challenging. Why did we do this before? Which is, of course, then lending itself to even more chaos and more confusion for a lot of people on our team. So if you want to move to the next slide, Cindy, it just, I think, overemphasizes why it is different. My children are home. I have a college student home. I have a high school student home. I have a second grader at home. So even though I've worked from home for 10 years, I've never had to homeschool my child at the same time. My family's never been here, right? So all those distractions, plus all the distractions of everyone else that's home working on all the home projects, it's like I never had an inkling to do my laundry during the day before, but now it's like, oh, I better get the laundry done. So it is different. Those of us who have never worked from home before don't have a defined home office. That is difficult. That is stressful. My husband literally, who's now also working at home, set up his home office in our furnace room. So he would have like space to himself. He put up sheets so it covered up all the storage, put up a couple pictures. Like, you have to make your space your own, but you have to have functional space. because you need the privacy, you don't have the bandwidth, you don't have the technology. So all of those things are different than those of us who have been doing this for, 5, 6, 7, 10 years. The other element that makes this more difficult is that the choice. There was no choice. People choose to work from home sometimes for a reason, or ask to work from home, and then it's negotiated out. Many of us had no choice to go work from home. And so the feeling is it's being put upon us rather than, oh, this is a lifestyle change I want to make, or this is an opportunity my organization is giving me to try working remotely to maybe increase productivity. Because normally remote work does increase productivity. And there are studies that show you 10, 12, 15, 20%, up to 13% a week. That's a whole extra day for those of working remotely. That's not going to be the case during this because of all of these other distractions. And I want to talk to homeschooling, which you can switch to our next funny slide, Cindy. Those of us who are doing this is real. This is difficult, and you should not expect to be working at normal capacity when you're also trying to teach your children. Your teachers are saying that. Hopefully your boss is saying that. It is all about setting realistic expectations. If you have a partner at home, staggering the shifts, who's going to cover the first couple hours, who's going to cover the second couple hours. It also depends on how independent your child can be and working through their own work while you're working. You can't see, but my daughter's desk is right behind me. She sits there all day, except during a webinar. She works, I work, but she has a question on how do I carry the one, mom? And then I got to go get that. So there are distractions, there are interruptions. You can't expect to work a normal 8 to 5 like we were doing that before. But I get up, I start working at 6 o'clock, 6 to 8, 8:30, so it's quiet. Then I take a break, get her set up for the day. Then I start working again. My husband takes the recess, lunch, and gym shifts around noon. But you have to work through that. This distance learning is a challenge for everyone. Reach out to your schools, reach out to your teachers, but we're not teachers. We're not expected to be teachers, so just do your best and get help, and realize that you're probably going to work at about 50% normal, which for many of us is stressful and struggle and hard because we're used to powering out the work. But that's just the reality of what we're in. I think we have to give ourselves some grace around that.
Absolutely. And I have to say, I'm so glad my daughter is already in her 30s, because the carrying the one was going to be a real issue for me, right?
Well, they don't carry the one anymore. That's the problem. So you got to.
Yeah, I would be literally like, okay, I'm going to have to Google this on some of that. Good thing she's only in the 2nd grade, right?
Yeah.
Of course, that can be difficult. So, the idea and obviously the challenges that we saw that came in from you were in alignment with the challenges that we just put up. And you heard Kim, her husband, I mean, you're in the nice big room and he's in the furnace room. I mean, that's nice. Okay. You do have to prepare your workspace. I happen to, a lot of people have put the fake thing behind their Zoom. I actually don't like that as much, because I feel like you're like a Martian, because I see people go in and out of it and their hands kind of come up here, but there's no arm. So you have to be careful if you're going to use a backdrop or something that it works. I mean, I am in a library area in our home with a bookshelf. So, the idea is that you just have to make sure you're prepared. You also have to get dressed. Okay, I'm going to tell you a story, not going to tell you, but it's a VP of sales, a good friend of mine with a hotel company. And yesterday he just told me this story. I can't make some of these things up. He is a significant executive, okay, but he has not been doing these Zoom calls, he's been on property managing people face to face. So he was on a call with a lot of people from the company, and there was a speaker that was talking like we are right now. But the difference is everybody could see each other, because, if there wasn't 100 people on this call, we'd have all of you. If there was 20, we'd have everybody squares up. But when there's so many, you can't do that. So he thought that when this PowerPoint is up, even though his picture was there, nobody really saw him. It kind of went just to the PowerPoint. He didn't really get it. So first he's eating, okay? And then he gets thinking, oh my gosh, I should get dressed and get ready, because I do have to go to the hotel for a meeting. So he took his phone, which he had the Zoom, call on. He started walking to the bedroom, and then obviously people knew, number one, he doesn't know, he was eating. You would never be eating like that. Having a sip of water and a coffee is one thing. All of a sudden they realized he's walking into his closet, and they said to him, so, Mr. So-and-so, just so you know, we can see you. And he almost died. He said, can you imagine? I could have been the biggest fool in the world. So a couple things you have to do is you gotta look at it like work. You have to get up and get dressed every single day. You don't have to, I get up and I put makeup on. I have to, because we're doing a lot of these Zoom calls. I mean, I don't go to the point, my hair is not, nicely blown out. I still get up, I take a shower, I get dressed, I stick to my routine. Monday through Friday, there is a no pajama rule in this home. It's only my husband and I, but we are getting up, and we get up at the same time. We always got up, and we get ready the way we have always done it, and we go to work. Okay. I always have taken lunch. Remember, I'm on the road 50 out of 52 weeks in hotels doing training. So 10 o'clock, there's a coffee break. 2 o'clock, there's a coffee break, and there's always lunch. And at the first bit of it, I kept saying to him, oh, are you going to make lunch? He said, no, we can all do our own, you and me here. I go, oh, usually lunch is, we end at noon, and there it is. Your mind had to get out of, wow, I have to do this stuff myself. But you do have to take those breaks. Okay. I'm not homeschooling. Kim's taking those breaks to work with her kids or sit down and have lunch. At 4 o'clock, now it's been raining, but for almost every day, we try to go for a walk, because we've got to get some fresh air, and we've got to get out, and where we live, we can do that, because it's a very wide open space. You have to learn that you're communicating all day long. And if you're not communicating, if you're listening on this and you're thinking, my boss is not doing this, or my company is not doing this, then you need to reach out to me when we're done, and I'll give you some tips of what you can do. And those of you that have people that are furloughed or laid off, I get the laws are all different and all over. You need to reach out to them. And I mean, seriously, because there's a lot of mental health issues that are coming into play here, where people are like, what am I going to do when this is over? The loneliness and the isolation and what's going on can be as bad as this bloody virus. So you really do need to reach out just to chat, just to say, why don't we have a coffee break today and tell me a little bit about what's going on? This is important. And then if they are furloughed, meaning they are going to come back to a job, talk to your HR team and say, why can I not have them on lineup? Because if you're in the US listening to this, I guarantee you about 80% of our clients are having them on lineup. So think about how to do that. So managing your time. I've already talked about the routine. You heard Kim, it was a perfect example. She gets up earlier. She's always been an early one though, because she has worked from home, and she's always had the flexibility, because she works from home, to be able to get up to get something done, so she could get her daughter to the bus stop, and then she could pick her up or go to a gymnastics class or get her to a whatever. So she's had flexibility and been able to manage that. I always had to get up early, because I start in a hotel every day at 7 o'clock. I'm in the classroom. And so I have to be able to get up and get with it. I will tell you, and I know this sounds kind of funny, watch the sunrise. It is amazing. I love sunsets as much as I love sunrises. And I've really learned to take a cup of coffee, even if I'm working, because sometimes I'm working. Now in a hotel, I don't get to do this as much. But this past 3 weeks, going on my 4th, I'm telling you, I sit and I watch that sun come up, and it helps me go, okay, it just proves that we will make it through this, because the sun will come up every day. So let's keep going.
And part of, for me, Cindy, the getting up early leads to the next point, which is really understanding your most productive part of the day. For some of us, it's 6 to 10 in the morning. For others of us, it's the afternoon. For some people, I have a friend I work with, she works remotely too. Her company's in California. She literally works when her kids go to bed from like 10 at night till 2 or 3 in the morning. So, you have to find the time that works best for you and then schedule your day around this. Your day may not look like 8 to 5 anymore, especially if you have kids that are home doing school. And you need to find out their most productive time as well. My kids are doing really great getting up early. I've told them they have to be up and ready by 9. I have a friend whose daughter is worthless in the morning and she'd much rather work in the afternoon. So it's establishing the most productive time of day for everyone and then figuring out the schedule that works best. But everyone has to have a plan. Everyone has to just kind of put a schedule together, map out the day. What are your must-dos? What are you going to try to do's? What are you going to hope to do's? And then work through that rather than just, I'll do whatever today.
And that's why it is not a free-for-all. It's not. And the one thing about this is I've said to everybody on every webinar, stop with, well, I can't wait till we go back to normal. Well, first of all, it's never going to be really back to normal because there's going to be so much, and somebody I saw, Kim, you read, said, I'm working on reestablishing the team and new org charts and new market segments. I'm telling you right now, one of the reasons you want to stay completely in touch with what's going on and completely present is there's a today team and a tomorrow team. Almost everyone I talk to says, this is the people that right now we went into this with. This is what it's going to look like coming out. And I want to be part of this is what it's going to look like coming out. So take time to manage your time. The other thing is interruptions. And I think that for those of you, and I'll let Kim talk to this in a moment, that are not homeschooling, and then I'll let Kim, because her interruptions are going to be different, okay? I'm probably one of the most, and Kim, tell me if I'm wrong on this, but I'm extremely organized in how I get things done because I live on the road. So although I didn't work from home, I worked from airplanes, I worked from Starbucks, I worked in hotel lobbies, I worked while I was in the back of a meeting room. So I could only do things, I'd have phone appointments. I had appointments to get these certain tasks done. I couldn't check email all day long and text all day long because I didn't have the ability to do that. I'm very present on social media, but I do it in the morning and I do it at the end of the day. I never could do it during the day. All right. So I'm going to let Kim talk to that about interruptions because some of you clearly, because you shared, have kids. So go ahead and talk about that.
Well, I think you have to control the interruptions you can control. And so the things I've identified here is set aside time for projects and tasks, making sure that you're not checking your email all day, which may sound counterintuitive to what we're going to say later about being quick and responsive, but you can't let every email pop up that's, interrupt you. You can't let every call that comes in, and particularly the texts. And probably the texts are more personal now than ever. I mean, everyone's home and everyone seems to have time, and even friends that didn't work think now because you're home, like, oh, cool, that she can just, no. So you have to really be very disciplined about not getting distracted by the alerts that are coming up from the news, by the alerts that are popping up on your Twitter, and all those things. Those are the interruptions you can control and you have to control. You maybe can't control the interruption of your second grader coming and asking you a question about her math. Like, you have to stop. You're going to have to divert your attention. You have to go back. So know that there's going to be things that you can't control, but there are definitely things like the alerts, the texting, the email, the social media that you can control and you have to control, or you're going to spin your wheels all day long and find out that you got to the end of the day and here's a day you should have had much more time, and then all of a sudden that time is evaporated.
Absolutely. So when we look, though, at procrastination and we look at what causes procrastination, this is, forget just working from home. This is like life. So take some of these lessons and learn them and soak them in. So when we come out on the other side, okay, we won't have this. One is some people are just afraid to do some of the things that we've suggested. Like I've said to people, you should be writing a blog, a weekly blog. If I was working a salesperson and I've been furloughed, okay, I am going to be touching base with all my clients. Hopefully they've let me have access to Delphi. But if not, I'm going to be doing it on LinkedIn. But if I'm homeschooling while I'm doing that, I'm going to write a weekly blog about the lessons from working mom or something like you, and I'm going to put it on LinkedIn and I'm going to do it. Well, I've had more people say, I really love the idea, but I mean, I'm too afraid. What if it doesn't sound right? I'm like, for heaven's sake, you know, bottom line is you think anybody, you're not writing it for the Wall Street Journal. You're putting it on your LinkedIn coming from your heart. Some people procrastinate because they're just bloody bored, or they are so perfectionist, they can't get over themselves. And that's the problem. You know, I am like, I mean, good news is I have people like Kim around me because I'm like the least perfectionist. I'd be like, oh, it's good to go. And they say, well, not really. But anyway, okay. So I'm the one that would jump in without really, you know, double checking something. But as long as you've got someone, you know, even if you're not, if you don't have anybody you're working with to do this, give it to your partner, your spouse, your husband, wife, girlfriend, boyfriend, you know, I mean, your college student that happens to be home and say, how does this sound? I mean, my daughter is my biggest, you know, person of giving me the real feedback, you know, the truth, right? Many times it's overwhelming task and we just are unclear of what we are trying to do. So you've heard me and Kim say, stay visible. This is, my friends, the biggest message I have for you. Do not allow working at home to be, I'm on vacation and I'm not around. No, you're not on vacation. And even if they made you take vacation time, because many companies did, because that's how they were able to keep paying you and financially take care of the hotel or the company or whatever, you have to stay visible. It actually wasn't a planned vacation. You're not sitting in Hawaii drinking a Mai Tai. So you have to make sure you are so visible. Keep everyone informed on what you're doing. If your boss isn't setting up one-on-ones weekly, ask for them. If you're not doing lineups, then get the team together. Say, look, I want to, you know, if it's just Kim and I, Kim, let's you and I, Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, do an 8:30 call just to see how you're responding to, you know, requests or cancellations or what's going on. Be really visible if you're doing any team collaboration. We've talked to leaders, a lot of leaders, and we've said, this is a time to look at what were all the issues that were going on before COVID? What were all the problems we had? Send those in, and then the leader should divide them up among teams. So the 4 of you work on that problem, the 3 of you work on that. So if you're on a collaboration type platform, be very visible. Be the one to say, I'll take the notes. I'll take the minutes of the meeting. Be the one that volunteers. I'll do that. I'll send that out. Let me do that. If you send it to me, I can go ahead and get it up on LinkedIn. Do not sit back right now and wait to be called on. Raise your hand. Go ahead.
And I think that this is always the case with remote work, because you always want to make sure nobody can see what you're doing. And so you don't want people to assume or think that you're doing your laundry or not getting your work done. So, but particularly now, I think it's important for all of us to show our value, and to show our value is to show the things that you're working on and why you're working on them. If you don't have specific tasks, you know, I'm spending time on LinkedIn, I'm doing this, these are the value I'm getting out of it. I've attended this webinar, I took these notes, I got this insight. So share with people what you're doing regularly so that they don't have to wonder what you're doing. And also, as Cindy spoke to earlier, the team today, the team tomorrow, you want to be on the team tomorrow. You want to show how during this time you are using the time. If you are not a full busy 8-hour workday, you are using the time to get better, to get stronger, to get more reliable. And to this point about being visible, somebody did share earlier that they have set up all day live WebEx links with the team on separate screens to have an open office. She said it works and keeps the team together and talking. You can stand and walk around and still chat to the team. So it sounds like most of the day, they're kind of in this open office as if they're all in cubbies, sitting in the same room. So because we don't all have that, and because nobody can see what you're doing, it is important to communicate what you're doing all the time.
And that, whoever said that about the WebEx, I mean, that's really great, because that's like real work, okay? Because it'd be all of us looking at each other, you know, and keeping like, you know, and even if you have to, it would be, I think, kind of fun, because it'd be like, okay, I'm leaving now to take my lunch break, because right now you just go take your lunch break, nobody even knows. It's like you are all working in cubbies. Quite cool. Yeah. you'll see here, and this, if you're a leader, you need, listen to me loud and clear. Ask, what else do you need from me? Ask the people working, what else can I do? Schedule these meetings with your team so that they feel better. The over communicating that we have talked about is absolutely going to save your team when you come out of this, because there are a lot of people that during this time are going to think, you know, when we come out of this, maybe I don't want to be on that tomorrow team. Maybe I want to do this, or maybe I want to do that. So you want to outline all your ideas, take notes, collaborate, whiteboard, sticky notes, Google Docs, anything you can do. And the most important is the last one, okay? What's going well? That's why our lineup, we talk about it, you know, because it's tough. It's tougher on others than it is. And some people don't show it. I'm very expressive. I'm going to show it. You know, Kim's very expressive. She's going to be like, you know, crazy. Like, you have no idea what's going on. I can't work because now I got to figure, we got to get this report sent in for the Zoom, you know, class she's got to take, you know. I always think of Zumba whenever I say the Zoom class. And, you know, and ask how you're feeling. I've been on several calls because I'm on a group, a mental health group for a lot of event planners. And there's a lot of anxiety in that world, because although people will start traveling, are they still going to do the big events like they used to do? So you do want to be there to help people and stay connected. And this is where you can clearly be very valuable to your customers. You know, I said yesterday to a group, you need to get your smaller groups of clients. Like if I deal with law firms, okay, they do a lot of meetings at my hotel or conference center. I need to get a hold of my contact and say, I'd love to do a 30-minute coffee break with some of the legal administrative assistants and talk about, you know, ideas and things they can do, because they're all working a lot in the law firms, but they're working at home. And some of them work for 4 or 5 different attorneys. And this is not about a Monday through Friday 9-to-5 job based on what they're doing. So if you get your groups in smaller groups, they will you won't even be doing much, but bringing them together, but they'll remember you did that, because they don't think about doing that themselves, right? The power of video. I will tell you right now, and we have been on so many calls with subject matter experts on marketing and presence and branding. The ugly video. So if any of you follow me on Instagram on my Monday Mentor Moment, those are what you call ugly videos. I mean, I hate that they say ugly video, but that's what they call them, because it's my husband holding the iPhone and me doing some fun little message, or sometimes yesterday was very goofy and fun, but I always make a message, right? Those go viral so much faster than curated videos. So you're definitely, your company or your brand is putting out some gorgeous things. Absolutely great. But what you're putting out is your own, and it's going on your own Facebook or your own, you know, LinkedIn. And as long as you're professional, you never talk politics, you never talk religion, you never make any joke about COVID, the coronavirus, you never do that, but you give some fun things. Those of you that are homeschooling, there's so much. I've never seen more funny things about the homeschooling moms, okay, and dads. You know, for me, because I've been in hotels so much, I mean, there's some funny things. Like the first week, I just got done with work and sat down, and my husband looked at me and said, what are you doing? I said, well, I was going to have a drink. He goes, well, who's going to make the drink? Okay, like, wow, you know, because I was used to just kind of sitting, and then someone says, hi, can I get you something to drink? And I was like, of course I was just taking a moment to decide what I wanted. All right, so there's a lot of fun different things, but you going live or doing a quick selfie, huge, is so fun. And you can send it to people on your team. Go ahead.
And Martin, I think this is Martin that's sharing, I don't see the first name, but says they're doing Friday drinks at 4. Last week, some were on for a couple hours, maybe drank too much. But I think what we're finding, and what Cindy speaks to about this, you know, her Monday Mentor Moment videos being just real, is people are really in search of the authentic, right? Like we're missing that connection, we're missing the personal piece of it. So We have to build in, like, how's everybody doing before we just get down to business. We have to build in a virtual happy hour. We have to build in coffee break, and why all of these additional touch points are so critical.
Right.
Because everyone is missing, even if you worked from home before, you're still missing what the rest of the office had that you were a part of. Like, I'm missing my office because we're, you know, we don't have some of the same meetings we had, but we're different, but we're missing that interaction that we have. And so that authenticity about really showing people that you care, that they're important to you, that they're being heard, that you're sharing real experiences with people, that's what's going to keep us all connected. And that's real with your clients as well as with your teams, I think.
Yes. And that's why talk. I think the one good thing, well, there's a few good things that are going to come out of this. I mean, it's like hard to talk about that now, but we're going to be cleaner for sure. But one of the things is that I think there'll be way less of doing this, and a lot more of doing this, and a lot more of what we're doing. I mean, I hope I don't have to Zoom again for the rest of my life. I'll be so glad to be back in hotels where there's meetings. I mean, we don't really want that, but you know, whatever. So I do want to take some time now and talk about some ideas to help you nurture your contacts and make sure that you are present. Working from home does not mean you're on vacation. If you're furloughed and listening to this, or laid off and you called in, because we're getting a lot of that, I want you to know that please take me seriously on this. Don't do anything that's going to get you in trouble. If they took away your Delphi, fine. LinkedIn belongs to you, and don't stop. And please believe me when I tell you, the more you are engaging and the more out there you are, the more relevant articles you share. I read every article that I share, but there's some very smart minds out there in our industry, in the meetings industry, that are sharing some really sharp things about how to see what we're going to look like when we come out of this. Sharing those ideas gets you going and gets you at that algorithm. So you are actually being noticed. You cannot just like something on LinkedIn. You can't just give a thumbs up. You've got to write something. You've got to say, what a great article. I especially liked this, and this, okay? Then share it, all right? Always say something. Instead of just thumbs up, great article, talk about it. Get a conversation going. Say whatever the article is. I'd love to hear from some of you. You know, reach out to me. I've got some ideas of how you could do this, but you have to post something once a day. And please, I'm telling you, I've been saying this, by the way, forever. And this is what I get when I'm in sales training. Are you kidding me? Once a day? There's no way I can do that. Not with all the inquiries, not with everything I'm doing. You have no idea what I'm doing. I've got 25 site visits, 42 lunches. Okay, now my friends, it's the time to wake up and smell the roses. We should have been doing this always. Once a day is not that big a deal, but you have to do it so you stay present. Now is a great time to go into your LinkedIn. We have done more LinkedIn like editing for people because they've said, can you look at my LinkedIn? And we're helping out. I said, I've never worked harder in my life for free. So, you know, take advantage. Call us. I mean, I'm here doing whatever you need me to do. Look at your headline. Make sure it's engaging. Remember, the headline is not supposed to be Vice President of Sales. The headline's supposed to be leading an incredible team that runs the such and such, you know, hotel, or focuses on meetings and you know, corporate travel or leisure. A professional headshot does not have to have a videographer, photographer. You can do it. The iPhones now are so great. Have somebody take a picture of you, and you can have it outside if you want, where the background doesn't look like anything except some trees, and put it on there. A cover image, take it off your website from the hotel or the conference center, resort, put it, that's wasted real estate, up on the top. So take that and don't have it just the little LinkedIn blue squirrelies. Make sure there's a summary. Talk about the company first, the company you work for, the hotel where you work, or if you're in a regional office, and then I. So I first talk about the business, then it should say I specialize in the sport market, or I specialize in incentives or small meetings. The one thing right now, you don't want unless you are laid off, okay? You don't want your profile to look like a resume. You want to encourage people to be able to know that you're there to talk to them when this is all over. Now, if you are laid off, then there's no problem talking about, what you brought to the table, what you can do, all these things. But just like we tell you to showcase your differences with when you're selling, okay, with your USPs and all of those, show me why you're better. Show me what makes you so great. I will say that Cornell, IAC, all these, I mean, I've never in my life seen so much free training out there. And on one of the IAC calls that we were on with the meeting planners, this was like 2 weeks ago, I was so excited because one of the things they think is going to come back, because they're all still planning their meetings and getting ready for, when we're on the other side of this. And they said, training meetings are going to be one of the things that come back really fast. And Kim and I were very excited. We said, great. I think that people will recognize that, wow, we should have done more training on some of these things. But right now, take advantage of everything that's out there free. There's webinars, there's articles. My team, every one of my team members, including Kim and Mary and Marsha, they're on webinars all day long. I mean, Marsha's our more analytical one. Yesterday, she invited me to a webinar, and Kim couldn't make it. I got on. It's with all analysts and asset managers. And I texted her, I said, I think I'll have you just take the notes on this. I mean, it was so like, right? She's gleaned a lot of information, and that allows you to start learning. That allows you to be better tomorrow than you actually were when this started, because you had no time for the training. And we know that because we go in and we train. That's what we do. And we're doing leadership training and service and sales training. And we do it once a year in a hotel and then come back the next year. And in between, we have to fight like heck to get people to do follow-up and follow on. Now you're doing that. Now that takes us to how to create those boundaries, because you do have to work. And you do have to make sure that you're taking, I would say a lot more attention. You want to think about, how do I make sure I do take the walk? Kim, you have the 4 o'clock mandatory family walk, right? Yep. You have to have a start and an end time to integrate that. You have to stay healthy. You do have to move around. I'm used to being on my feet every single day. So I am getting up. I'm trying to do a better job of going for that walk, because I was running through airports and doing so many different things. Don't sit at your desk, or if your office is at your kitchen table, then go outside if the weather permits and try to have lunch there. Try to take a break from everything that you normally are doing every day while you're working from home. Do not let this affect your productivity. Do not. As we've talked about, the collaborations, you have to make sure you are connected. A lot of you are using a lot of these already, but I want you to make sure you practice on these, because you'll see how we're setting. There's many times I see people, they're like this talking. Okay. Are you seeing just my chest there? Yes? Yes. Okay. Now I see a lot of this. Do you see this? Yeah. No, you got to practice. Make sure you can see well, and make sure that you absolutely are engaged in that call. Now, I'm going to keep moving, but send in any thoughts, because we would like to share these, and we're obviously recording this so we can talk about them. So send in to Kim any ideas you have that you would like to share on what's working well. So leaders, we've got about 15 minutes left. So I want to make sure I talk to the leaders on the call. I want you to really think about how you talk to people. I want you to think about the FaceTime. I want you to think about the one-on-ones. I was on the call yesterday with the VP of sales. She's scrappy. She's going at it, okay? Her people they have to touch 100 people a week still. Now they're not touching going, hi, do you have any business? They're touching, just like we've been talking about with LinkedIn, they're touching with how are you doing? They're doing Zoom little cocktail parties, things like that. Because they're all working, they're all being paid. She's literally once a week doing the sales meeting, then doing the one-on-one. Make sure you're holding people accountable on certain expectations, because otherwise, when we come out of this, we won't be better off than we were before. You know, this quote here, the Slack, which many of you might be using Slack, and we used Slack for a while, and now we're on Microsoft Teams, but working through a pandemic is not just working from home. It requires being improvisational, and that's in the organization, your agility that is hard to achieve in the best of times, let alone when employees are facing a home life where all the normal rules are off. Everything we've been talking about, this isn't the new normal, though. I want you to know, this is not the new normal. So when people go, well, no, it's not. We're all going to be going back to work and getting on planes and staying in hotels. And in normal times, though, only 30% of business leaders feel their organization is well prepared for the rise in remote work. Well, that's because we weren't even doing a good job when they worked in the office right outside of our door. So less than 10% leaders of employees strongly agree that their leaders have the skills needed to thrive in a digital economy. That's like not good. We have to think, right? Even before this sudden shift, 38% of remote workers received no training on how to work remotely. So we shouldn't have to wait for something like this. It is about the communication, the self-direction, the discipline, the flexibility. You got to believe in yourself. Half of the feedback we get from a lot of the calls that we're doing different than this, where we're just talking about there's no PowerPoint, talking about what you can do. We receive so many texts and emails saying, this just gave me hope. This was so much more, this was motivational. You have to be inspirational. You have to make sure we are breaking out of some of those bad habits that we did before. You know, having discipline at home is going to give you the discipline at work. Kim.
Yeah, and I think that this has probably been, and we started with this, and that's why we're ending with this, is the biggest misconception is you're just changing your location. And it's so much more than that. And I think even for me, it's become a stronger reality, having done this for so long, seeing some of my friends really struggle. And I would have to say, there's a lot of assumptions that people know how to do this. And it's not just about the technology. The technology is one piece, and there are people who honestly don't even really get Zoom. And so making sure that we're not assuming that they know how to get on the Zoom call, that they know how to interact in the Zoom call, that they know what they should be prepared to in the Zoom call. But beyond that, and going back to those behaviors that were just on that last slide, it is emotional intelligence we have to have that is going to allow us to be successful in this kind of environment. So beyond our Wi-Fi, beyond our Zoom connection, beyond our collaboration on Slack or whatever else we're doing, it's, do we have the behaviors? Are we exhibiting the behaviors where we have to be more communicative? We have to believe in ourselves more. We have to be more collaborative. All these things are changes we have to make in our own behavior, that we have to take responsibility for our own self-direction. We have to show that we're trustworthy by being more communicative, by being more transparent, by being more visible. We have to have the discipline. We have to have the initiative. And for people who were kind of used to everyone telling them what to do all the time, you're struggling. And so that leads to procrastination. That leads to feeling like you're not accomplishing much. And so I really encourage people to reach out for help. If you're not getting the direction, if people are assuming you know what to do, ask very clearly, what can I be doing? Or help me, give me some direction to what I'm doing, or find some of that self-direction and some of that value for yourself, because those are new behaviors that perhaps we didn't have to exhibit in the same way that we're having to exhibit now in this new environment that has all these challenges in it. There is a question that somebody had. It says, how do you be more communicative when your leader doesn't want the communication? He trusts that you are doing what you need to do, which is tough for sure.
Yes, yes. So one of the things that I think is very, very important is that you're honest with that leader. And you basically say, you know what, really, it's not about you, it's about me. And I need to talk to you, and I need to talk to you about what I am working on. I need to get some idea if you think that's a good idea. It may only be 30 minutes a week, but I need that. And I'm asking for it, because that leader basically is doing a disservice to the company you're with, my friends, okay? And you, and themselves, quite frankly. So don't this is a time to push a little bit, okay? Because I can assure you, they're probably struggling in their own way, and they might be a leader, and I don't know the leader, but they might be a leader that doesn't know what to do. That's like, I don't even know what to tell you if you ask me a question. So many leaders have had to be working through the operational, shutting down of the hotel, all the things about financial, all the cancellations, the force majeures, but that doesn't take place of talking with you. So make sure you do that for sure. Were there any other comments on that? Anything like that, Kim?
There were not. Nope.
Okay.
Kate just mentioned that they tried their first cappuccino hour on Monday and it worked very well, and now they're going to do it every Friday.
Oh, nice. I love it. I love it.
Yeah.
Okay, so I always say that the sign of a good webinar is when everybody stays on, and everybody has stayed on. So we're hoping we did a good job for you. We are available. Master Connection Associates as partners with IAC. These are the upcoming sessions that IAC has going. I want to move that so everyone can see it. As you heard from Kate earlier, these are all being recorded and put on a platform so you can go back and look at them again. But it's important that you know all the things that IAC is providing, and I would be taking advantage of every one of them. And here's an example where you can work with your team, is that maybe I can't be on this one because I'm on another one, then Kim will be on that one, right?
Yep, and there was one that didn't make that slide. I thought we'd updated this slide. There is an additional one that's been added on April 24th for specifically food and beverage, dealing with the reality and today's demands. Those topics have been so useful. There was one on sales, operations, there's coming up one on people and technology, and now this one on food and beverage has been added by IAC as well. So it's been great discussions and great information sharing about how people are handling the situation currently and what it's going to look like as we come out of this. So all of that can be accessed with IAC Online on the events calendar.
Good, perfect. So we have about 5 minutes or so. Are there any other questions, comments, ideas? Did we get any ideas, Kim, when I said, are there any ideas of what's working well? Did anybody send anything on that?
We did not get any additional ideas behind the cappuccino hour.
Oh, wow, guys. Okay. All right. Well, then I really do thank all of you. I will tell you that the only thing, and I'm a firm believer in this, the only thing that is going to make a difference for any of us is that we have to be really good at being persistent. We have to be really good at not saying, I can't wait till this is all over. I can't either, but if all we do is say that, we're causing ourselves a lot of grief. I always believe that if I didn't like something, then I should change it. And if I can't change it, then I should do something about it. And there's not really much we can do about this. This was given to us. We were told what we had to do. We're all doing it. But at the end of the day, what I've changed is this. I can be successful. I can come up with clever new ways. I can come up with ideas that are going to make us more successful on the other side. And I truly believe if every single one of you use this time to make sure you are getting better, so you're part of that tomorrow team, you will be more successful than you can imagine. So with that, I'll say thank you and have a great rest of your week. And we will be seeing you on other webinars. So thanks so much, everybody.
Thank you.
All right. Bye.